Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I would like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Marla Billinghurst. I will be chairing the panel this morning. With me on the panel are Mr. Brian Carlin and Ms. Linda McFadden. Representing the assessment department is Mr. Matthew Harling, and the administrative personnel this morning is Ms. Crystal Harland. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish, and once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1, 2, and 3 on our docket today. Can you please affirm the assessor's and the applicant's testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Assessor, would you please state your full name?
Matthew Harling.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Marcelo Navarro.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The first matter on this morning's docket is 117 Frobisher Road. So, Mr. Harling, please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the file number is 24-3365. The roll number is 0800628500. The address is 117 Frobisher Road, and the owner is the Manitoba Hydroelectric Board. The 2025 roll year, based on the reference date of April 1st, 2023, is assessed at $680,000. If you look below on page 1 of my brief, we'll just see some descriptions of the property. So this particular property is type is considered a hydro substation. There are some detached structures on the property, which there's just some information regarding those structures. The property is zoned for RR5 Rural Residential 5. And the land area is 392,348 square feet. If we turn to page 2 of my brief, you'll just see where the subject is located here. So this again located on Frobisher Road. You can see just south of the property is South Perimeter Highway, and then just west of it is St. Mary's Road. Turn to page 3 is just a photo, an aerial photo view of the subject property. A little harder to see, but I have more pictures so we can see. This continues on pages 4 and 5, just giving the overall shape and the outline of the parcel we're dealing with here today. If we turn to page 6, this is just another aerial view photo. Now page 7, that gives you it would be the most easiest to see pictures here. So at the top here, you can just kind of see the outline of the parcel. You can see the land here. And at the bottom of page 7, you'll just see the zoomed here. You'll just see here, this is again a hydro substation, and you can just see some of the structures on the site, some of the detached structures, some of the sheds, and some of the buildings here. So essentially, this is what the subject is and where it's located. And then on page 8, these are just some street view photos of the subject, just facing on Frobisher Road, facing the property. Turning to page 9 of my brief, we'll just see the valuation summary. So as we've seen on the photos, there are some structures on the property. So how we're assessing the property is we have a total depreciated cost of all the structures at $380,000. And then we have a land value of $300,000. Together, these give us a total value of $680,000. If we turn to page 10 of my brief, we'll just see the zoning. You can see here that it's, again, zoned here R5 Rural Residential 5. And then you can just have a brief description of what's entailed on that type of zoning for that property, what can be built on it. Okay, if we turn to page 11 of my brief, we'll just see some of the land sale comparables in the subject. So the subject here, when it comes to its land, as I indicated, it's 392,348 square feet, roughly 9 acres. There's the zoning, again, R5 Rural Residential, and then some of the land influences on the subject. And then if we look at the bottom of page 11, we'll just see the valuation. So we're applying a land rate of 76 a square foot to give us the land value of $300,000. If we look at the top of page 1 and the comparables here, you can see the comparables I've shown here. So they just range in size from 202,950 square feet to 409,000 square feet. The similar zoning as the subject, R5 Rural Residential. Some of the influences similar, and then the sale dates range from August 13th, 2019 to December 7th, 2022. And the price per square foot range from $1.16 to or 87 cents to $4.12 a square foot. So those are the land sale comparables or land sale sales comparables I've used. Now if we turn to pages 12, this is comparable 1, photo of it. Comparable 2 is on page 13. Page 14 is comparable 3, and then page 15 is comparable number 4. So this also continues on page 16. So these are just the photos of the comparable sales for the land. And if we turn to page 17 of my brief, we'll just see the classification liability allocation. As I indicated, we have the land value assessed at $300,000, and then we have a total depreciated value of the buildings at $380,000, which then gives us the total value of the land and building at $680,000. And then lastly on pages 18, 19, and 20 are just some municipal assessment actor information. And after that, I believe that concludes my presentation, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, do you have any questions for Mr. Harley?
Just a couple. The first question that I have is regarding the improvements that are assessed at the moment. Now, these are part of the power generation substation in this location. Is that correct?
Yeah, they would be used for like the function of the substation, correct?
Okay, and typically that type of equipment, conduits, poles, all of those things, the plant, equipment, any similar property owned and operated by the corporation would typically be exempt.
Yeah, under the Hydro Act, that would be kind of how they would see it. Yeah.
And the land underneath that equipment would also be exempt, correct?
Yes, under the Hydro Act, yes, yeah.
Okay. So the question is, how do we deal with this property? Do you think that in this case, because these are assets that really can't be moved, you can't do anything with them, and in terms of the highest and best use, physically, that kind of prevents any future use at this point. So would you agree that there would be some type of adjustment that would be necessary for this? Because as I see this, I don't see that the model has adjusted the land value. So do you think, would you agree that there is probably some requirement for an adjustment on the value?
Yeah, I don't disagree in the sense of, like, you're right. The site is, what it's used for. It's not like a marketable site like it would a typical property where you would, it could be developed or marketed. So yeah, that would be something I wouldn't, mindful of and wouldn't disagree in that sense. Yeah.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden?
No, I do not. Sorry about that.
Thank you. I do not have any questions at this time. So, Mr. Navarro, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, this is 117 Frobisher Road. If you turn to page 6 and 7, you can see some of the pictures. These would be similar to what the assessor has used. And then on page 8, you have an overhead view. This is a, a hydro substation, and it's zoned RR5. It's basically adjacent to the perimeter highway. So it really can't be used for anything else. And in terms of the highest and best use, that is its highest and best use for the foreseeable future. There would be some physical issues with putting anything on there. And as Mr. Harland alluded to, the site really can't be compared to a marketable residential rural site because it's not. So we do take the land value approach. We're using probably some of the same comparables. I came to, on page 11, you can see some of the comparables that I used. These are sales occurring between 20 and 2022 of differing sizes. Some of these are larger. Some of these may be smaller. But we have an average of $2.29 per square foot. We've selected a rate of $1.25 per square foot, giving us a value of $490,050. And we've discounted 20% off of that. Now, the 20% discount is because of the physical assets that are there, which take up roughly 20% of the site. So the rest of the site is valued normally. We just make that discount for the areas that are actually being, where they have those hydro assets. And with that discount, we come to a rounded value of $392,000. That's what we're proposing, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Assessor, do you have any questions for Mr. Navarro?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carlin.
No, I do not either. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden?
I do actually. Mr. Navarro, if in the hypothetical this land were to be sold and developed, the physical assets that are there would not be there in any case, right? Is that not correct? Like they wouldn't, nothing would be left there.
Right.
If we're using the cost approach as a hypothetical, then and it was going to be sold, then they wouldn't be there. So
okay,
the discount wouldn't matter.
So the value is basically looked at in terms of its highest and best use.
Correct.
So, and we are valuing what's physically there, not what's hypothetically there.
At the date of assessment, yeah. Right.
So
okay.
We can't ignore what's there. It's there.
Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Oh, thank you. I have one question, Mr. Navarro. Would there be any environmental impact on this land that would possibly, I guess, prevent an eventual resale?
I think most sites have an environmental file on them, especially of this nature, but I don't think the environmental aspect of it would be an issue. I don't know what's underneath the ground, though. And that I can't speak to. I know that there are certain chemicals that come with hydro equipment, but I can't really comment. It's not something that we looked at. Okay. The assets themselves do run underground, though, so it's not just what you see above ground.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a need for summary from either party on this matter?
I'm good on my end, thank you.
Yep. I'm good on my end as well.
Okay, just give me 1 second to just make my notes or complete them, sorry, before we move on. Sorry, I don't write that fast now. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. We can move on to the next matter on this morning's docket then, which is number 2, and that is 116 Baylor Avenue. Mr. Assessor, please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The file number is 24-3359. The roll number is 030407301000. The address is 116 Baylor Avenue, and the owner is the Manitoba Hydroelectric Board. The 2025 roll year, based on a reference date of April 1st, 2023, is assessed at $794,000. Look at the bottom of page 1 under the property description information. We'll see this is a hydro substation similar to the previous property. It is zoned for RMFS res multifamily, and the land area is 27,243 square feet. I'll turn to page 2 of my brief. We'll just see where the subject's located here. So we can just kind of see the top here, where it's located just west of Pembina Highway. The bottom, you can just see more closer image here, Pembina Highway, and it's just close to Dalhousie Drive.
You got it.
Yeah, I just had a hard time saying that. Yeah. And then we turn to page 3. We'll just see again some further photos of the parcel outline. The bottom page 3, you can kind of just see a similar photo of what it is. This continues on page 4. And then on page 5, this is just facing the subject on Baylor Avenue. You can see again, just another substation, similar to the previous property, just it's on a smaller size. And this continues on page 6, just from the rear of the subject. And then on page 7, I've just shown a street front view of the photo of the subject. Just again, you can see it's bordered with a brick wall. Okay, page 8 of my brief, you see the valuation summary here, just assessed at $794,000 in land value. And if you turn to page 9, we'll just see the zoning. This again, it's residential multifamily, and just a brief description of what can be built on that land. If we turn to page 10 of my brief, we'll just see the land sale subject and comparisons or comparables. So the subject again is 27,243 square feet, or roughly 0.625 acres. The zone for RMFS residential multifamily. And if we look at the bottom of page 10, we'll see we're applying a land rate of $29.15, which gives us the land value of $794,000. Now, if we look at the comparables here, we'll see the comparables range in size of 13,242 square feet to 33,000 square feet. So this is some of the zoning, similar multifamily, mixed use. And the sale dates for the subject or the comparisons range from March 7, 2018 to November 22nd, 2022. And the sale prices range from $26.67 to $39 or $44.16. So those are the comparable sales I've used. Now, if we just turn to pages 11 and 12, this is comparable 1 photos of the comparable sales. Page 13 and 14 are comparable number 2. Pages 15 and 16 are comparable number 3. And then pages 17 is comparable number 4. Now if we just turn to page 18, just the liability and classification information. Again, just the land value assessing. And then pages 19, 20 through 21 are just the allocation classification liability information. So that being said, that concludes my presentation, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, do you have any questions for Mr. Harling?
I guess this is just model generated value, correct?
Correct. This would be model derived, yes.
Okay. Okay. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions?
I was just looking at the pictures. Comparable number 1. It does have a number of buildings on it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, and I apologize. It's just that when the property sold, I couldn't find a photo of it when it was vacant. I guess when there was a house at one point, they demolished it and they built another one. So it was like the timing was really quick. So I guess I couldn't find a picture of it vacant. So yeah, that's why that's that. So
okay, no, that was my confusion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ms. McFadden, do you have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Harling, The equipment that you show on page 6, is that the same kind of equipment, just not covered with a shed the way it is in the last property?
Yeah, I mean, this one's like obviously a lot smaller scale, for the neighborhood. So it would be still the like kind of substation, transformer type equipment. So it would be, similar usage. But yeah, so it's a similar situation as the last one, kind of. Yeah, it'd be substation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no questions. Mr. Navarro, please proceed with your presentation.
Right. Show this is 116 Baylor. You can see the pictures on page 6 and 7. Same type of situation as the previous example. I don't think we need to make this any longer than it needs to be. On page 10, you can see the sales that I've used. I've come to a rounded value of 28.64 per square foot. I'm actually not even opposed to the value that the rate that the assessor has used for the full value of the property, 29.15 per square foot that he's used. I've discounted it by 55%. There is a typo there that says 50. And that was basically just taking a physical measurement of the assets using a GIS measurement tool. So we've discounted it by 55%, meaning that it's taking up roughly 55% of the site. And that comes to 351,108, rounded to 351,000. Yeah, that's it. I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harling. Do you have any questions for Mr. Navarro?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions?
So when you're discounting the 55%, you're looking at that whole compound from the walled area, right? Is that
Right.
correct? Not
Right.
not just the transformer area?
No. So what we don't see is what's underground. So there would be all of the things that actually connect to the street underground. So there is actually more than just the walled compound there. There are lines that extend through underground and connect to the services that are on the street and then move out into different areas. So yes, we do take a little bit more into account. In this case, because the assets are actually taking up more of the site in the previous example, we only used 20% because we were dealing with a much larger parcel. But in this case, it's a smaller parcel. The assets just take up a little bit more space than the previous situation.
Okay. No, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden, do you have any questions?
My question's asked and answered. Thank you.
As with mine, so I guess we can move on to the, is there a need for summary from either parties?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good as well, thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm just finishing my note. Okay, so the next matter on this morning's docket is number 3, which is 225 Timsale Drive. Mr. Assessor, please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The file number is 24-2899. The roll number is 0309161700. The address is 225 Timsale Drive, and the owner is the Manitoba Hydroelectric Board. The 2025 roll year, based on the reference date of April 1st, 2023, is $567,000. If we look into the prop description below on page 1, we'll see again this is a hydro substation. It is zoned for R1M residential single family medium, and the land area is 17,008 square feet. Okay, we turn to page 2 of my brief. We'll just see where the subject's located here. Again, located on Timsale Drive. So this would be just the south perimeter would just be south of this. And so this is located in kind of the Fort Richmond area, close to Waverly West, Bridgewater Forest in that area. If we turn to page 3 of my brief, we'll just see an aerial photo of the subject where it's located just off of Timsale Drive. Turn to page 4 and 5. These just give you more zoomed in photos. So similar to the previous property, as you can see here, just some hydro, just some transformers on here on the site. This continues on page 6, just to get some further photos from different angles. And then on page 7, I'm just showing some street view photos just to show the subject site itself, and then you can see what's located on there. Page 8 of my brief, just see the valuation summary, assessing the value on its land value to $567,000. And last time the property sold was on June 20th, 2024. You can see the sale price there. Page 9 of my brief, we'll just see the zoning. They indicated it's a residential single family medium. So just a brief description of what can be built on that type of land. Okay, if we turn to page 10 of my brief, we'll just see the subject and the comparables. So the subject again is 17,008 square feet, zoned for R&M single family medium. And we're applying a land rate of $33.34 a square foot, which gives us the value of $567,000. Now, if we look at the comparables here, you can see here they are with the addresses of where they're located. You can see the land areas range from 6,401 square feet to 11,481 square feet. Similar zonings to the subject, some of the land influences here below that. Sale dates range from March 24th, 2021 to May 30th, 2022. And sale prices range from $30.62 to $48.05. So those are the comparable sale ranges and the price per square foot. Okay, now if we just turn to pages 11, 12, or yeah, we'll just say the comparable ones on page 11 and 12. Comparable 2 is on page 12. Apologize. Comparable 3 is on page 13, and comparable number 4 is on page 14. So those are some photos of the comparables. Page 15 is just the classification liability allocation information. And then pages 16 through to 18 are just the allocation of the Municipal Assessment Act information. That being said, that concludes my presentation, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, I think we've answered it in the previous two, so I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. Nor do I. Okay, so Mr. Navarro, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, so 225 Timsale Drive. This again is a Manitoba Hydro asset. You can see the various pictures on pages 6 and 7. Highest and best use on page 9. On page 11, you can see some of the land comps that we've used. So overall, we've come to a higher value, 838,324 at 49.29 per square foot. That is because we're using sales from the surrounding areas, and this is part of Waverly West. Land values are quite high in this area, so we've acknowledged that to some extent. So again, with the other properties, we took a measurement of the assets and estimated about 75% on this site. And again, that is taking into account those areas that are kind of where you can kind of see a pad there, because there are assets underground there as well. And at 75%, that's 628,000. It comes to a rounded value of 210,000, and that is what I'm asking for. I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Assessor, do you have any questions for Mr. Navarro?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carlin?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden?
Mr. Navarro, are there plans or schematics or drawings of some sort that allow you to do this estimation of what's underground?
Yeah, so we do actually speak with Manitoba Hydro about what's there. So we have an individual contact who is part of Manitoba Hydro.
We knew what you meant, yeah.
And they're informing us of what the assets are. So no, we're not just taking an
making it up.
Yeah, we're not just taking a guess. Yeah. I will also stress though that this hasn't been spoken of, but these values are kind of consistent with what we've done in the past and agreements that we've come to agreement with the city. So 116 Baylor in particular, I mean, it's just continuing on with a value that's actually quite similar to what's been done in the past. So we're not trying to invent something new here. I think we've been pretty consistent in the way that we've looked at these types of properties in the past.
So, sorry, just for clarification, Mr. Navarro, are you saying the city has taken the kind of approach that you're taking in the past?
I think what the city has done is maybe discounted the rates based on maybe other aspects, but in the end, we've kind of come to a similar conclusion, whether we've done it our way or they've done it their way. And so if we had been doing this with, for example, other people in the city who actually do this more often in terms of the hydro asset valuations, we likely would have come to very similar conclusions in terms of the values. That's just my opinion in terms of what I've seen in the past and what I've negotiated in the past with the city.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
I'm good as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Good morning, everybody, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Madam Chair, I'll go take us offline. May we take a 5-minute break?
I was just going to suggest that actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll see everybody in a few minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you.